First of all, welcome everyone. Good evening. My name is Joe Karpinen and the Associate Dean of Admissions here at Providence College. Many of you might have seen my name with the emails. We might have had discussions over the phone as well. Just wanted to say congratulations, first of all, on your invitation to Providence College for the fall. And this webinar is always just very helpful to kind of go over the housekeeping items on next steps, what to do, what to expect from enrollment and before you come to campus, as far as the tasks and all of that goes. So first of all, just congratulations, big congratulations to you. So we'll usually try to keep it around 30 minutes or so. We definitely have more time if there's more questions. So keep using the Q&A function. There's a questions box where you can ask any questions and we'll definitely answer those. And we'll also just open it up in the end for any of those. So today with me, I'm happy to share, I have co-presenters. We'll have Sarah Ross. She's a current transfer student and a junior that joined us last year. So she'll be sharing her story in a bit. I'll share a little bit about the enrollment and admission side of things, what to do next. We'll have Haley Del Greco, she's the Assistant Director of Academic Advising here. Matthew Hicks, Assistant Dean of Student Engagement and Leadership, talking about kind of the orientation side of things. And then Kevin Hillary, our Associate Director of Housing, sharing the housing side of things as well. So we'll get started here. Sarah, would you kind of like to get started here and share your story? I think just students who are still making that decision always want to like hearing from current students and kind of hear their stories and how they found PC and how the adjustment has been so far as a transfer student.
Yeah, of course. Hi guys, my name is Sarah Ross. I'm actually a sophomore here at Providence College. I'm majoring in political science with a minor in marketing. I transferred to Providence College this past fall, so I'm still pretty new here, but I already feel at home and I'm just really excited to be here with you guys to be able to talk about just my experience and hopefully answer some questions if you guys have any. I found out about PC because my sister goes here and she's actually a senior this year, so she'll be graduating in a few weeks, which makes me very sad. But I kind of just wanted to talk about my experience. My first year of college, I was at a small school about 20 minutes away from my home, and I just commuted, even smaller than Providence College. So it was definitely a little different, but I know transferring can feel really intimidating because you're kind of starting over with a new campus and new people and new routines. But I just wanted to start by saying that if you're ever feeling nervous or unsure, that's totally normal. I felt the same way, and I did join my own transfer webinar. So it's kind of funny being here. But I promise it does get better really fast. You won't feel anxious at all anymore. For me, what made the biggest difference was how welcoming everyone at PC was, especially from the beginning. We'll get into this later in the webinar, but orientation was really great. Immediately, I met other transfer students who were in the same boat as me, and everyone was just really eager to make friends and get settled here on campus. There's still people that I met during my first orientation that I'm still best friends with today. So it is really great knowing that you're going to come on campus and immediately find your people. Outside of that, people here are just genuinely really friendly. So it is really nice and easy to find your place here. I got involved with admissions ambassadors, which has really helped me to meet more people and feel connected with the school community. There's a lot of ways to get involved, whether it's clubs like admissions ambassadors, events, or just going to things on campus. Your first few days here will have an involvement fair, so it's really nice to get to walk around and see all the clubs that Providence has to offer, and whichever one sparks your interest, I really recommend joining that. Everyone is super, super inviting. And you don't need to start everything at once. I like to say that because I think if you start small, things will just naturally fall into place. Even if you try something and it doesn't work, I think that everything will just naturally fall into place as it will. And Overall, I think I'll try to keep it short. I think what's so special about Providence is that it's big enough where you have tons of opportunities here. It was really shocking coming from such a small school, and kind of to a little bit bigger campus, just medium sized. I was really impressed with all the opportunities that I have here on campus. But it's also small enough that you don't feel lost in a crowd. You're not just a number here at PC, and I find that really special. You're seen here and you matter, and there's a lot of resources and help everywhere on campus. And I did really appreciate that as a transfer. We weren't just a new student, we were actually a person. And so I'll be around for a Q&A. If you guys have any questions, you can even send some in the chat. I can reply. Just anything I'm happy to share about classes or anything else you're wondering about. So thanks for being here, and I hope to see some of you guys on campus soon.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I think it just speaks volumes when you hear from current students, and hits home a different way. So really appreciate you sharing your story. And this year, kind of, if you're still deciding on schools and you might have different options, we're thinking this year we'll try to do transfer admitted students tours as well, and Sarah might be involved in those. She's been helping some students already with questions. So always happy to connect you with her if you have any questions to a current student. But as far as the next steps, so I kind of wanted to walk you through what to expect next. You've gotten your invitation letter. There should be a deadline on it on the enrollment piece, and also your class standing and the major should be part of the letter. So you kind of see on what class standing we've given you based on the credits that we reviewed and pre-reviewed during the application process. You also should have received the equivalency sheet that shows the amount of credits and the specific courses and what's the equivalent here at PC. One question I always get from students is, hey, my total credits look a little short. And if that's the case, just make sure the thing that throws some students off is the current courses they're still taking. So if it shows TP as a grade, it just means we haven't seen your final grades, and we just need to see you got a C or better, and then ultimately all those will transfer as long as it has an equivalent from the PC course. The other big piece for this is obviously financial aid. Many of you might be waiting for the financial aid letters if you applied for need-based aid. So first of all, just make sure your status portal shows that we've received your CSS and FAFSA, and that there's no other documents that financial aid is waiting on. We are estimating your letters to go out by the end of this month, so within the next 2 weeks. So definitely way before your deadline, so you have time then to kind of decide and see the bottom line cost. But if you have any questions about that, let me know. You can always reach out to financial aid directly as well. But then once you are ready to commit, you go to your portal. There should be a box that you can click on it, how to confirm your enrollment, and that you can then go ahead and pay the enrollment deposit. And what happens after that is we will notify the campus and all the offices involved in this process. And the main 3 offices and the representatives are part of this call as well. So we'll kind of go in order, kind of how it would work for you as well, as far as who you would hear from. So first of all, Haley Del Greco from academic advising would probably be one of the first ones you would hear back from after that deposit. So Haley, all yours, kind of explaining what you do for transfer students.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I will say that I probably will be one of the first people you hear from, especially at this time of year. I try to get in contact with you as quickly as possible. So from my side of things, what happens when I receive that notice that you have officially committed to PC, that you have deposited here? I start to look at your current courses, how they are going to transfer over to Providence College using that transfer equivalency sheet. And then I use your degree audit, the document that tells me every single degree requirement you need to meet in order to graduate here, to create your fall schedule. So I, on the academic side of things, as the academic advisor that works with transfer student, I am the one in charge of creating all of your fall schedules. All right, so using those two documents, I take a look at what classes are still open and available, and I will place you into the appropriate courses. All of you this upcoming semester will have one class that'll be on your schedule that you absolutely cannot touch, and that is Development of Western Civ. As you all know, Civ is part of our core curriculum. Every student here needs to take it. Depending on the standing that you're coming in with, you may need to take anywhere between 2 or 3 Development of Western Civ courses. For any of my sophomores or higher standing, you will only have to take 2 Civ classes. If I have any second semester freshmen transferring in, you will have to take 3 Civ classes. So keep that in mind. Some of you may have already received a notice from me regarding your fall schedule because I see some familiar names here in attendance. So please reach out if you have any questions. But with that being said, if you elect to come to PC and I do create that fall schedule for you, I will send out an email notifying you how to view it on your Cyberfryer website. Once you have, and this is why I say normally I might be the first person to reach out to you. Sometimes I send out those emails to students and they have not actually been granted access to their PC email or their Cyberfryer yet. So if you have questions or concerns about that, don't hesitate to reach out. Normally, we're just waiting on the registrar's office to actually activate you as a student in our system. So if you do have questions or concerns about your schedule, you are always welcome to reach out to me. The standard practice that I do, or I have, I should say, is that I try to place students in their Civ, 2 major courses if you are a declared major, and then 2 core classes, or if you have a lot of cores completed already from your previous courses, I maybe throw you in a free elective class, which is free reign for any classes that are available to take. So like I said, the schedule that I put you in is not finalized. I call it a tentative schedule. Oftentimes students will review it, have questions about some of the courses they're in. Depending on those questions, I might ask you to reach out to your major department, once again, if you're declared, because I'm following a baseline 4-year guidebook plan that we have, which is located on Academic Advising's website. So if you have questions about that, normally I'll direct you to the guidebook page, but also have you reach out to your department to make sure that the changes you want to make to any major courses are good to go. In terms of cores, I'm always happy to chat with you about that. So like I said, this is more of a tentative schedule that I create. It's not set in stone. I'm always happy to chat with you about it. But I will be your point of contact for all things academic related to PC. So if you do have questions about your transfer pending credits that we have yet to receive from your final grades for this semester, I'm happy to check in, make sure we have received them or have not, and direct you to the appropriate person if you do have questions about like sending in your final transcripts, or maybe you've sent them in, but you don't see your grades officially on your transcript just yet, right? I'm happy to be that point of contact for you. I know we're going to be talking about orientation next. So kind of as a segue into that, I do encourage all of you, if you do end up committing to PC, please come to the first day in Friartown for transfer students. Not only is it a great way for you to meet your peers, get a sense for what it means to be on campus, but a major part that I think is great for students is you do get to speak with your department. And once again, if you want to make those schedule changes, you have a time built into that right then and there to sit down with your department, make any schedule adjustments. If you have academic questions about any transfer courses, they're right there with you. I'm also there that day. You have an academic session with me, so I can always answer your questions at that point as well. So that's going to be like my one tip. If you can come to first day in Friartown over the summer in June, please do. So with that, I believe we're heading to Matthew next to talk.
Awesome. Thanks, Haley. Hi, y'all. My name is Matt Hicks. I serve as our Assistant Dean for Student Engagement and Leadership here at Providence College. Excited to see so many folks on the call here tonight. I'm going to talk about 3 different concepts here. And so as part of my role, I do oversee the new student orientation process. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what are those next steps if you do decide that PC is the place for you. And I know there's some folks on the call who have already decided that PC is the place for them. So I'll talk about kind of what those next steps are, go through the new student checklist, summer and fall orientation, just to give you an idea of the different types of support and what we do to make sure that you feel that PC is home for you. And I'll also briefly talk about our other student engagement opportunities because I do oversee that side of campus as well. So I'm going to put a couple links in the chat here. The first one is the new student checklist. And the second one is going to be a link to the orientation part of the student engagement and leadership website. So I think those are just two great links for you to hold on to. The new student checklist, I think, is a really fantastic resource. It essentially outlines everything a new student needs to do between now and the first day of class. And it lays out details on how to complete everything step by step. And then it also has a contact person. So in case you get tripped up on any part of the new student checklist, you have somebody that you can reach out and contact with. Just make sure you're reading through that. Some of the steps are slightly different for transfer students, like the way that you would select your housing, which Kevin will talk about here in a moment. So just take a note. Anytime it's different for a transfer student, it's very much noted in the description of that item. So you know what you need to do, maybe a little bit different than an incoming freshman student. So Haley mentioned our first day in Friartown program. That's part one of what I call a two-part orientation program. So we have all of our students come for one day in June. You get your academic class schedule. Like Haley said, you get a chance to meet with a faculty member and herself to talk more in detail about it. And then you also get a chance to meet other students. One thing I really appreciate about the way that we do our transfer orientation program is that we design a program specifically for transfer students. So both in the summer and in the fall, you're going to specifically be doing a program for transfer students and with other transfer students. And the reason why we feel that is so helpful is because we know you're not new to college, right? You've done college in some form of another. And so we don't want you, going through and feeling like you're doing that same orientation that you already did as a freshman. So we want to help you know how to be at PC, right? And that's what we really focus on. And I promise I did not plant Sarah, but what a wonderful testimony, Sarah. Thank you. I was smiling when you said that you still have those friends and those connections. And that's one of the reasons we know as transfer students, you have some similar experiences and may kind of have some similar feelings going in. And so to have other transfer students to connect, I think is really fantastic. On top of that, one day in the summer, all new students move back 4 days early in the fall. So that does include freshmen and transfer students, but you are placed in a group specifically with transfer students. And this fall, you will have all transfer students will have orientation leaders who are upperclassmen students, and you will have transfer students as your orientation leaders. So they've been in your shoes. They know kind of how that transition is maybe a little bit different than, how you came into your previous college as a freshman. So everything we do, we really try to make sure that you feel, supported and ready to succeed, and that you feel like Providence College is that home for you. And, the other thing too is that you have peers to reach out to. Maybe if you don't instantly feel like PC is the best place ever, right? And so you have upperclassmen students that help you kind of guide and work through those first couple of weeks of classes. So, we really make sure that you feel supported all the way through. We do have some additional supports. We have pre-orientation programs. We have virtual learning, virtual orientation resources for you on our website. I won't spend too much time going into each and every piece of that. But I do really encourage you to explore the two links that I sent you, especially that new student checklist. If you have already, decided that you're coming to PC and paid that enrollment deposit, I would strongly encourage you to go ahead and sign up for June orientation. You don't have to register for fall orientation, but you do have to go in and register for summer orientation. So again, that will be in your admitted students portal, and all of the instructions on how to do that are also on the new student checklist. And then before I cede my time, I think over to Kevin probably next. I will just briefly mention, on that same website that I sent with orientation, you're going to be able to click around and see all of the awesome engagement opportunities that we have on campus. We have over 125 different student organizations. We run over 500 events a year. So there is literally always something to do in Friartown. I think maybe if you could make any complaint, there's too much to do on campus at different times. So really, no matter what you're interested in, everything from large scale events with hundreds of students to, clubs that run small programs for a dozen students at a time, really whatever it is, that you're into, we have the opportunity to offer programs, or you could start a new club and we'll work with you so that you can, have an interest or have activities that fit your interests. So, it's really important for us that you feel like you're at home outside of the classroom just as much as you're excited to be into the classroom. So happy to answer any questions. Feel free to, drop it in the Q&A as you're going along the way, and happy to answer those. Or at the end, I believe we have some time as well. So with that being said, I think, is it going over to Kevin next? All right.
Hello, thanks, Matt. Thanks a lot. Welcome everybody from one transfer back from the Stone Age. I think it was 1987. I came up to Providence College after we made the Final Four. I'm still waiting for us to make the Final Four, so hopefully we bring some good luck and we make it over the next year or two. As far as housing, I'm your main contact person for that. We just finished up our housing selection for next year. Literally yesterday, I'm working with some students, with some groups to kind of finalize where they're going to be. And we have a great mix of type of housing. It kind of flows naturally on campus, where freshmen are in an area, sophomores are in an area where they could be in apartments, Shanley, traditional hall housing, and then the juniors, about 50% of the class, a little bit over to 50%, study abroad. So they pick before the sophomores, and they take a lot of the major housing, and then about 18% of the seniors live on campus as well. Our off-campus housing is run by a couple. Actually, we have a lot of landlords, but the main landlords are like 02908, Strive, and a couple others that are really made some beautiful homes off campus for the seniors that want their own room, and have that experience before they head out to the real world. So I think the format of housing really fits. It's a good flow. So the first communication, I received the list from admissions. You'll end up getting an email from Providence College. I get the sheet from Juno, and I email your Gmail as well as your PC email to get that communication going. I have you fill out a Word document. In the Word, within the email and the Word document, I get to know you a little bit better, and I'm going to end up giving you a call. I like to chat because each student has their own story, what their experiences are at the college and what they're looking for, and maybe the students they know. So I like to get to know you a little bit, so I give a quick call. As far as with placement, I want you to choose who you want to live with, but I get you started. I want you to start meeting students. So I kind of get this form back from you. I get you started. I explain how I can help with you, and we start that communication until you feel comfortable at home where you're living. And I've had different times where students meet groups of students a good couple times, and they may not live with somebody, but they made friends. Now I know Sarah because I know her older sister Lauren, and I believe Sarah, you're with Jordan, right? Transfer as well? Is that I
Yeah,
think
I
you're in with a
am.
transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the questions some of the kids have is, can I live with other transfers? And I won't put you on, I won't put you on the spot, but you have a great sister because she came into me and said, you better get my sister good housing. And I believe you ended up in Davis, which is
Yeah,
very good
I'm
housing.
in Davis now and I'm squatting here for next year as well. So it's been great.
Yeah, well, I think squatting is a funny term, but that just means that Sarah loved the apartment so much she stayed in it for the following year. She's in a very good dorm that is resident hall that is a mix of sophomores and juniors, and it has a full kitchen, and it's a very hot bed for sophomores to go into. As far as with the housing, again, it's a personal one-on-one with me, which try to figure out what's best for you. But ultimately, I have to say, even though Sarah was over in the apartments, I really encourage a lot of the transfers to look at traditional housing. Guzman and St. Joe's has a very open door policy. The bathrooms are renovated. The kids who just picked that yesterday, I had groups of friends and clusters live together. And yes, they were not happy not getting Shanley, which is an all sophomore dorm, and maybe Davis, but they actually were really great with kind of saying, man, this is going to be fun. It's going to make it happen. And literally, you could walk outside those halls and be able to toss a softball and hit the other sophomore building. So the community really flows together, and it's good to get friends in each of the buildings. So I look forward to working with you. I just finished yesterday, so I plan on emailing you, believe it or not, before Easter, but I want you to enjoy your families and don't think of PC and then contact me next week. I'll be in on Monday. I tell all the kids, get that fresh break before your big push for the rest of the semester. So enjoy your family this weekend, and then definitely I'm looking forward to talking with you and coming up with a good housing plan to get you set for your fall semester.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everyone. This was really, really helpful. I think all the students just really appreciate hearing from all of you and kind of what to expect in the process. As said earlier, some of you have already deposited as well, so you might have already started this process. But we did have a few questions that were answered. I'm going to give you like 1 minute or so. If you want to ask more questions, please send those to the chat. You can also email us anytime. transfer@providence.edu is a good central email to start from, and then we can work as a liaison and send you to the right departments if there's any specialized questions. There was a question about kind of those admitted student tours, transfer admitted students tours that we're trying this year. So you should get an email about that next week on some of the opportunities. Many of you, your deadline should be around May 15th. So there should be still some time on taking those. It'll be more of an individualized tour, and our idea behind it is kind of offer things that you're looking for. Doing our best maybe to connect you with faculty or you know, one of the people on the call, or Sarah, but especially me talking in admission side and kind of giving you an individualized tour on campus, if you want to do that. So just feel free to email us about it, but you'll also hear from us next week. I do see one more question here. Let's see. And I saw Sarah, you responded to the kind of the adjustment being away from home. Did you want to just kind of share that super quick, because some of that, when we sent the recording, they might not see the Q&A function, just kind of how that was.
Yeah, so I do live an hour and 45 minutes away, so it did take me a little bit to get used to. But I think that being involved on campus in any way, like, just really helped like my feelings of being homesick or having anxiety. I know it's kind of a generic answer, but I really do mean it. And I think keeping yourself busy with things on campus, like, we have so many things going on here at all times. So really just grabbing a group of friends, people that you meet during your orientation, even just going to the dining hall with them, I think will really help. Just kind of create your own comfortable space here. And I do recommend staying on campus even when you do get that feeling of I want to go home, because I'm now about to finish my first year here and I'm just really sad about going home for the summer, because I've just made living on campus such like a comfortable space for me. So it does take a little bit, but it's not impossible to get used to.
Great, thank you. We do have one question, maybe we can answer it live. How and when do we select meal plans? So maybe kind of discussing that piece. Yes.
Want to jump in there?
Mhm.
Meal plans depends on where you're living. So when you pick your housing, say you're in traditional housing, I automatically set you up with the minimum meal plan. The meal plans are changing a little bit next year, so keep an eye on the website. I could always send you the link to meal plans. I believe they're updating it for next year because there's going to be a couple adjustments compared to what is currently this year for the students. But in general, if you get an apartment living where you have a full kitchen, the meal plan will be zero unless you tell me that you want something else. So you could let me know and I could automatically do it, or you could call Res Life and take care of that as well. So as far as traditional housing right now, the meal plans are a minimum 19, say if you lived in Guzman or Joe's. And then there's different ones for McCarthy Hall, which is a suite type living, 165 meal plan. So if you go on the website, and or you could drop me an email when we start our communication, I could give you all the links to the meal plans, and then you get the minimum, and then you could always ask for something higher up to the second week, or lower it if you want, if you change your mind, up to the second week of the semester.
Great, thanks, Kevin. We got one more question here. Another one for you, Kevin, would a group of transfers all be placed into the same apartment? So I think you partly might have answered that in your piece, but
Partly,
say that again. Yeah.
just a quick thing with that. I get lots of different requests. Part of the form is like, would you like to live with a transfer? Some kids say no, some kids do. And you also get to meet students through the orientation. So sometimes kids, after they meet each other, is like, hey, can I switch my housing? Again, you can move housing around, meet different kids, decide what you want to do. It does depend what's available and what I could provide. But I do try to get what you want eventually by you move in. Now, as far as with transfers, also you get to know each other. It's kind of nice when you're within a certain area. That's why I kind of push with the sophomores to maybe live in the traditional hall setting, because you get to know everybody on the floor. The open door type policy. You might not live with a transfer, but they're down the hall, so you already made that connection. So it's really individual. But I don't go, oh, a transfer came in, let me just put him with another transfer. I like to do what you want to do. And then if kids want to live together, sometimes a student will go, "Do you mind providing information?" Now, I won't turn around and send all Instagram stuff and different things like that, but I'll definitely give you the PC email so you could start that communication. Or believe it or not, sometimes I even call up and say, "Hey, I talked to Jane. She's pretty cool. Why don't you live with Sarah Ross? She's kind of neat, you know." So I say, like, it's very good to sometimes just chat with somebody, and you guys know how to do that best with social media. So I kind of leave it up to you guys to figure that out.
Great. We got one more for Matthew, just the difference between pre-orientation, I think the first day in Friartown, summer orientation, and early move-in. Can I explain the difference?
Yeah, absolutely. So pre-orientation is a program. So if you participate in pre-orientation, you do get to move in early. You'll move in 4 days earlier. So I got to do some backwards math here. I believe it's Saturday, the 23rd of August is when you'd move in, but somebody's got to fact check me on that. And then you participate in one of our 5 pre-orientation programs. So each program has a theme. And so essentially you're doing 4 additional days of orientation. And a lot of new students find that helpful if you prefer to come into like a smaller environment. So in pre-orientation, you're going to have a group of 12 new students, as opposed to when you do fall orientation, it's going to be closer to 30. And then you get to like really kind of lean into and learn about an area of campus. So we have a pre-orientation program that focuses on rec sports, wellness, athletics. We have one that focuses on the arts. So you get an opportunity to kind of explore a passion area with other students that share that same passion. So it's a 4-day program that you get to participate in. And you do get to move in a little bit early. Early move in is a little bit more of a logistical thing. And so you would work with Kevin and the team in Res Life to apply to move in early. But you don't actually physically move in early. You bring your stuff in, drop it off, get your room set, and then you'd come back on move-in day. Instead of worrying about carrying all your stuff, you get to just kind of show up to campus and get ready to participate in orientation. But Kevin, feel free to add to that.
Yes, if you're from very far away, you might ship some things ahead. But if students are within a driving range that they feel comfortable coming to PC, after August 1st, we allow students to come take a look at their room, bring a carload in, get a little bit settled, kind of where they're at, get the lay of the land, know where things are. You end up finding out what your classes are. So we try to make that transition when you're coming on campus to not be like I'm bringing everything but the kitchen sink on day one, and I have to go do the orientation thing. So we try to get you settled. Sarah was lucky; she had a sister here, so she knew what a Davis apartment was. Everybody has a different story on what they could do to come. This ultimately, just ask, and we'll try to make it as smooth as possible.
And just as a follow-up, I saw a question about who participates in pre-orientation. I will say, pre-orientation, it does tend to be freshman heavy. But transfer students can participate in pre-orientation as well. So, if you are looking, especially if you're thinking, I'd like to make some friends outside of other transfer students who I'll meet during fall orientation, pre-orientation could be a good opportunity to do that.
Thanks, Matthew. Fantastic. A lot of good questions, which is always exciting. Again, congratulations to everyone. We'll wrap it up here. to keep it around 35 minutes. Look out for the emails next week if you want to come back to campus. But again, just reach out anytime you have any questions, and we look forward to seeing you on campus. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.